Maya, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
So, before we get into your world of teaching and being a CEO and AI, I want to know this. 5 years ago, this pandemic was changing our lives in so many ways. How did you get through the pandemic of 2020, and how has it influenced the way that you live life today?
Oh, that's a great question. It hit me and my company Wave very hard because we had a very large deal lined up with a Japanese company, and it was in May that we had an online meeting with them where they told us that they're not going to be able to go forward. So that was very, very, very difficult. And so we sort of ended up wondering what are we supposed to do because we knew that we had something great, but we didn't have much to show for it or already 3 years into the company. And we ended up doubling down on the idea of extracting the lyrics capability of our system, which actually in late 2020 became our most successful product.
So, to get a handle on exactly what you do on a daily basis, I'm going to put you in a school. It's career day. There's 12-year-olds in the room, and one of the kids is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer him?
Oh gosh, wow. Well, I do what I find interesting in AI, and I do different projects. So I run companies because it lets me build products that other people actually use. And I wrote a book and I write papers so that people can find out and engage with some of my ideas that are not well captured by products. And I speak about what I do in various formats. I don't know, I do too much,
Yeah,
honestly.
right. No, that's good. That's a great synopsis. So let me ask you this. When you were 12 years old, what did you want to be? What was your dream job?
I wanted to be an actress.
Okay. Did you act? Was that something that you pursued?
I did that a little bit, yeah, for a while, and not in a kind of direct path
Right.
out of high school, but I did it a little bit later as an adult. I think I just changed. I think it wasn't for me anymore by the time that adult work life became relevant. But I do a lot of stage work in other ways.
So being in the business world, specifically with AI and teaching, writing, how did these seeds get planted in you early on? Where were you born and raised? What were these foundational seeds that eventually were harvested to become you and your career today?
I think I was exceptionally lucky in a lot of points in my life, if I'm completely honest. I was
Yeah.
born in Belarus, back when it was communism. There were so few opportunities for me. But my family did two immigrations while I was still a child, and we ended up in Canada. And I don't, we weren't wealthy. My parents couldn't afford to help me very much. But it's a fairly standard immigrant story in the beginning. I worked very, 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 very hard. I had two language switches early on. And so, everything, even though, I was a smart kid, school didn't come easy at certain points because I just didn't know anything. I didn't know the language, I didn't know the curriculum. So I've had to sort of catch up on all of that until certain things became easier. And so by the time I went to college, I had a very, very good work ethic. And I ended up staying in school for 10 years, and the government of Canada um, ended up giving me really good scholarships for my master's and my PhD. And so I had the opportunity to study in a way that is only possible when you can get that kind of support, or if your parents can enable it. And then I just got just insanely lucky a couple of times. I got into AI originally into cluster analysis, which is not what became popular, but it still kind of placed me into the AI universe. And I got into generative AI in 2015. I ended up running into Harold Cohen at a conference and just absolutely fell in love with the idea of machines making art and music and being creative. What does that even mean? Nobody was talking about it really. It was such a niche topic, but for some reason I was just pulled towards it, even against the advice of my peers and elders in the space.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Who's been the hero? Who's been the inspirational force that's allowed you to find your footing, to find your career?
And I think in reality we're all a combination of the people around us in different ways. My dad sent me down the computer science path. He's a software developer himself. I have an incredibly supportive spouse. who's also an AI person, an incredibly brilliant man who always believed in me. And then in the business arena, there was Kai Milderberger, who I was very fortunate to meet early in my path, in my sort of adult career. So it's a lot of people in different ways. There wasn't like one person guiding me through, but there were a lot of wonderful people, and still are a lot of wonderful people along the way.
It's interesting the timeline you put out there for your kind of beginnings with AI because I think people think it just kind of blew up in the last couple of years, but we've always had these, like even home devices. There's always been levels of AI that's been in development. Um, and seeing it get to this kind of warp speed where we're at right now, does AI worry you at all with where it can go?
Yeah, of course, very much. It's we've had generative AI. I just have to mention in academia, AI making art and music and writing stories for
Yeah.
decades. So the level of public misconception is fairly severe, but because it's crafted intentionally by the companies who have something to gain with us believing that they made it all up. Um, yeah, do I worry about it? Yeah, very much. I mean, we're already seeing fairly severe levels of unemployment. That's very likely to get a lot worse. But it's important to keep in mind that the AI is not doing it. People are doing it using AI. People with a lot of power and resources are choosing to take this really powerful technology and apply it in a very, very specific way. You can make a lot of money with AI in a way that's much more socially friendly. But there are certain choices being made, and that is very concerning.
I heard someone at one point say that AI is going to ultimately be a reflection of human beings. If we go in with bad intentions and feed it bad information, it's going to reflect us. But if we do it with a kindred spirit, with good intentions, it's going to tend to be something that will benefit and be something good for humanity.
So I agree and disagree with this quote. I like it. It hits on something very real. So AI is a reflection of us already. It's trained on human data, Western data. It's a very accurate, surprisingly accurate reflection of Western thought. More accurate, I think, than it makes people comfortable because it reflects parts we don't like as well. But that's a very, very hard one to sort of avoid. The idea of creating AI that just reflects our golden selves, only the positive parts of us, is a bit of a delusion. It's not how AI works, and we don't agree with each other on what an angel looks like, on what good is. So it's this really interesting thing. But where I think we do have a lot of control, and I mean, we are the totality, some of us have a lot of control around it, is how we direct this power, right? Whether we choose to use it to replace humans, whether we choose to use it to elevate people, what we actually build, the verticals we actually tackle, and how we do that. That we have a lot of choice over.
Yeah. The one thing about AI is that it's moving really, really fast. How do you keep up with the evolution, with the growth of this technology? Is it like a daily task for you to make sure that you kind of keep the radar screens around you? But how do you keep up with it?
I'm a fish in water.
Yeah.
That's my universe. Yeah, that's what I live and breathe. It's what I do every day. It's what a lot of my network does. Usually, when something big happens, I have at least five different people informing me about it. Probably somewhere between all of that, I already saw it on my LinkedIn feed. So I guess LinkedIn has been helpful, if I'm honest, because I use it quite actively. My feed is pretty good, but I think my network is just the people I speak to on a regular basis, the people I interact with, are so immersed in it. It's actually very easy for me to stay on top of it because of my environment.
So, what is it that gets you up every day to do this work in AI and beyond your book, everything that you do, but also to take care of your soul? What's that energy for you every day to do it all at a high level?
That's a really good question. I think it goes back to your question around the stuff that I don't like that's happening. Part of it is that I think there's a lot of the narrative about AI is designed to serve people who are already in power. And so there is something important about sort of getting up every day and doing my part towards correcting a lot of these misconceptions, telling the stories of the people who've really created this space and sharing a point of view that I believe is a lot more helpful um, for human beings in the long term. But also, I get really excited to build stuff. There is something really satisfying about building AI tools that actually elevate humans, that actually help us be more creative, to find out all the people who have benefited from what we've built. That's really fun.
So, talk to me about your book, Creative Machines, AI, Art, and Us. Give me kind of an abstract. How did this book come about?
About a year ago, Wiley reached out to me and asked whether I would like to write a book. My mother was dying. It was a terrible time, and so it took me a few months. Took me a few months to agree. But it was really the most wonderful opportunity to have a chance to put together all these thoughts. I'm on stage a lot. I would give like a 1 hour keynote, but I know that's not enough. Where did all this come from? You
Yeah.
know, what is it? What does it mean for a machine to be creative? How did this all rise to popularity? How did the narrative about it shift? And then where do we go from here? Those are really important things, and it takes a book
Yeah.
to organize all of that and properly share.
I think that's a part of AI that makes creatives nervous to a certain degree is that hopefully we don't get to a point because there's nothing like an actual painting that a human being makes or a song that a human makes. And I think there's levels of fear. Do you sense that with that creative realm?
There's a lot of fear when it comes to things like consciousness, creativity, and intellect. We really want to hold on to them and sort of retain exclusive rights to certain things. You know, those are the things that make us human. That's what makes us unique. And also, there's kind of pragmatic fears about what's going to happen to my livelihood, right? If I'm a creative, what's going to happen? But what's really important today, especially more than ever, is to face the truth, no matter what it is, right? To keep denying the creative capabilities of AI systems today for music and art is just like putting blinders on ourselves. Because it's only if we face reality that we can choose to create the kind of world that we want to live in, as opposed to sort of being in denial and trying to hide from it.
So, as a keynote speaker, what's one of the greatest speeches you ever witnessed in your life?
Oh, wow. Anil Sessa's is one of my favorites. It's such an incredible talk. Wow. It's on YouTube as well. It's about how we hallucinate our entire existence, essentially. How it's about everyday hallucinations, how we essentially construct our realities through small scale hallucinations, predicting what's going to come next at every moment, and once in a while having to adjust that. And that was kind of this really interesting link that helped me understand how similar we are to machines and how hallucinations are actually a core aspect of thinking rather than a weird quirk that we need to sort of completely eliminate. It's how we think. Both us and machines think in terms of prediction constantly. And once in a while it messes up, and then we kind of almost see the fibers in the matrix break. But that was very helpful. I love his work.
So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight, ran into that young version of you, 18 years old, ready to go out into the world, and you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've lived, choices you've made, wisdom you've gained over the years, what advice would you impart on that younger version of you?
I think I couldn't have asked for a better career, so I don't think I have anything to say there.
Yeah.
I think my advice to her would be more personal. It would be more about, um, yeah, more more on a personal note than
Yeah.
about
I,
anything
g-
related to
I
AI.
get it. I get it. So, of everything that you've done and accomplished in your life up to this point, what are you ultimately the proudest of?
Oh wow. It would have to be Wave. It would have to be my company. That's what's the biggest project. It was 8 years, 8 years in the making, and we started it when nobody believed in generative AI. It would go from investor to investors, and they would tell me it's never going to happen. The world is never going to go in this direction. And to sort of persist to this degree and bootstrap it for many years and get the company to serve millions of people, and also to have had the opportunity to show the world how AI can be done in a way that profoundly elevates humanity, that it doesn't have to override, that it can let you take the lead. It has really sharpened my thinking about what AI is and what it needs to be by sort of being out there and serving real people and listening to what they're saying. So I would say that to date, that's my proudest accomplishment.
So everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone that you work with, everyone that gets your book, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Oh, wow. These are like the most thought-provoking questions I've had in a long time.
Good.
I don't know if we have the most accurate perceptions of ourselves. Um, I think I'm just a soul that's lucky to be here in this moment in time and go through this crazy life with all of its wild ups and downs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to pick up a copy of Creative Machines, catch any of do you have your keynote addresses online? Is there anything that people can pick up and watch?
Yeah, it's just maya-ackerman.com
Okay.
has some of my talks, and my book is available for ordering.
Okay.
So yeah, it's all out there.
Okay, I will put all of that in the show notes. This has
Mhm.
been absolutely wonderful. I got one last question because of AI and just the way that things work. If you could go back in time in human history and watch one event with your own eyes, it wouldn't create a ripple in time. You would just be able to witness it happen. What would be one event you would love to have seen with your own eyes?
My biggest hero in computational creativity is Harold Cohen, the maker of Aaron, one of the earliest automated painters. He had a really interesting relationship with his system. I think it's really what I've been trying to embody with my own work. He kind of fell in love with his creation, but he also didn't worship it, right? It was sort of even-handed. He named it after his Hebrew name, so there's kind of this 10% Christian spiritual tie in there. I wish I could watch him create art with Aaron. I wish I could be a fly on the wall
Yeah,
and witness that interaction, this really early creative interaction between human and machine.
yeah, that would be fascinating. Maya, this has been absolutely wonderful. I will make sure to put all these links in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time, for your wisdom. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you.